He did get it.
information?
So hopefully
Okay.
he'll jump on here shortly.
Sure, absolutely.
I think it's
So
out of
anyway,
the schedule. It's a little
absolutely,
crazy.
sure, everybody. Well, welcome to a level one mentoring session. Stephen, good morning. Tell us a little bit about you. What have you done as far as your book work, as far as seminars, and we'll be more than happy to help you here. So tell me what you've done so far, Stephen, if you don't mind, sir.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I am actually a new addition to the program. I took my qualifying test on the 29th of November. I did miss the December meeting just because it was a few days after and I didn't have time to coordinate my schedule. So I am a new entrant. So I have only really begun some of the modules, but it's kind of just getting into the flow of things. The holidays obviously throw a wrench into everything. And I actually just moved down to South Florida. So it's kind of all been a lot of things at once.
Awesome. Well, first of all, great. So you've passed the Q level. Is that correct?
I have not. So Q level I've passed. I am actually still an affiliate. So I have not secured employment in the golf industry. I am, by trade, I am actually a licensed attorney, and I kind of did a career change very recently, just kind of introspect and see what I wanted to do. Settled on the PGM program, so it's kind of been a whirlwind of change. And then since that, I'm still an affiliate, and I have not had a chance to attempt the BAT. I was originally from Wisconsin, so obviously with the season up there, it was already off season by that time, and I haven't gotten a chance to attempt that yet.
Got it. So you're in a pretty good mood today with the Packers kicking butt yesterday.
Correct. We are very happy.
So we got you go. So Stephen, do you know the roadmap towards membership? Are you pretty familiar? Obviously,
familiar enough.
level. Yes. Okay, you got all that. Satisfy the PAT, and then go ahead and register for level one. Currently, our level one seminars are all done virtually, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. And then level two and level three. So that's kind of like your track. So the advice to you certainly would be, prepare for the Q level exam. And the best way to do that is in the course manual. There's learning outcomes at the beginning of each course.
Sure.
Take those learning outcomes and write yourself a paragraph on what that learning outcome says and means in the course manual, and you'll rock the house and do really well. That's really the best way to prepare for it. And
so I actually did. I did listen to the recording of last month's meeting prior, and I remember you mentioning similar for the next exam. So I'm in level one. I've done some of the modules so far, so I have begun the process. It's obviously I'm very new to it at this time.
Great. Well, it sounds like you're motivated and passionate about it. So that's 75% of it for sure, Stephen. So good to have you, and good to you be part of the program for sure. And we're here to help, of course.
Well, thank you.
And any questions, just shout out. Is that Valerie, Victoria?
Valeria.
Valeria, good morning to you. Tell us, first of all, good morning. Tell us about your status. What have you done so far as PGA material is concerned?
Well, I'm on level one right now. I'm completing my portfolio. The only part that I need to finish is the tournament operations and the teaching and coaching.
Okay.
But I was waiting for this month because we have our member, because due to COVID, we didn't have any.
Well, that's fantastic. So you've been to a seminar. When did you actually come to level one seminars?
April 2020.
Got it. Was I in your class? Was I your instructor?
Yes, it was the first virtual.
Gotcha. Yes. Okay. Super. So yes, you're doing well. So yeah. So as far as the tournament ops go, you've nailed it perfectly. You got a member coming up. So just be sure, take a look at the portfolio, and I'll certainly going to pull it up here in just a few minutes, and just make sure you have all the credentials and what they're asking for in the activity. Everything from scorecards to card signs to rule sheets and on and on and on. So you'll be able to go ahead and satisfy that activity with no problems whatsoever, especially in a member event. So certainly, so document it right from start to finish, and that'll be really, really good. As far as any of the teaching and coaching sessions there, the most important thing is really referring to the 6 ball flight laws and positively altering ball flight. That's really, really key. And please feel free to reach out to our mentor line. Kevin Compare is, he knows that we're doing this. And Kevin's been a lifelong member of the South Florida section prior to moving to Texas. And Kevin says he wishes he could be on this call, but he's got other tasks. But please call the mentor line and ask for Kevin Compare. That's Kevin, Compare. And certainly he'll help you with any questions that you have as far as the teaching and coaching curriculum side of it. And you'll really, really rock the house.
Okay, perfect. We'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll send out his info afterwards as well.
Super.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And do you have the mentor line phone number?
Yes, I do have it
Okay,
here on my
perfect.
notebook.
Okay. So you feel comfortable with the tournament ops. We'll kind of go over that. I'll kind of go over that in just a couple of minutes, and then so you feel good about that. And again, that member will certainly fulfill that. So thank you. Bob, how about yourself, sir? Good morning. Can you hear me okay, Bob? Maybe you're on, are you on mute? Unmute.
We have Philip there. Philip's on.
Philip, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, doing really well, Philip. How about yourself? So what's going on with you? Tell us what's happening.
Nothing much. Just kind of started level 1. So really was just hopping on the call just to kind of listen. Don't have too much to provide, but I'm all open ears.
Fantastic. So what have you done so far?
I'm just pretty much starting off. I'm literally in level 1 course manual of facility management. So that's pretty much where I'm at the moment.
Gotcha. Okay. So Q level exam, PAT, have you explored that?
My PAT was waived, and then I already did the Q level test as well. So just right in level 1.
Awesome, man. That's great, Philip. Really, really good. So my advice to you, don't, and I say this in a very respectful way, don't spend a lot of time pre-seminar with the activities. Your best thing to do is obviously you fulfill the Q level, you've satisfied the PAT. So the main thing now is to figure out a schedule. Certainly you're in your high season right now, but figure out a schedule when you can come to the level 1 seminars. And then that's where we'll do a lot of the post activities. So I'm not saying you're wasting your time, but the best thing to do as far as the curriculum is concerned pre-seminar is really get familiar with the 2 case study facilities in the manual. One's a private club called Summit Valley. One's a public course called Crescent Ridge. And that would be the best way for you to prepare for the actual seminar. Because what's going to happen, day 1, we're going to ask you, if you had an opportunity to be the head golf professional at the private club at a public facility, which course would you take and why? And what can you really do to enhance the performance of that facility? So, because you're going to ultimately pick one of those 2 facilities, and you're going to carry on through all 3 levels with that same facility when it comes to all your work experience portfolio activities. So that'd be the best preparation for you to really create some time management, and due to obviously you're working and everything else. So that would really be the best advice for you there.
Definitely. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Absolutely. For sure. Good going. Bob, can you hear me okay? Are you on the line? Okay. So what I'd like to do now, and please, ladies and gentlemen, at any time you have a question, just shout it out, okay? Just, again, because the whole purpose behind this, with having Marty on the line from Florida Gulf Coast, your education chair, and certainly you all know Meredith, Assistant Executive Director for the section, and myself, Bill Schiaffoletti. I've just semi-retired from PGA Education Center. Our headquarters have moved to Frisco, Texas, and our entire team has moved there. And due to my core values with family and obligations, I've decided not to do it. So I've done a lot with writing the curriculum, helping with test questions. So please, the only question that you ask, that you don't ask, any question that you ask is a good question, and we'll answer. Okay, there's no silly questions. The only silly question is the one that you don't ask. So please feel comfortable with that. So what I like to do is kind of go through a scenario with the portfolio. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through the work experience portfolio. And what I'd like to do here is just kind of give you a snapshot on the activities of the portfolio. So can you all see that okay? So the level 1 work experience portfolio is all the portfolio's activities must earn a passing grade for that entire portfolio to get approved. So if there's an activity, professionals, that you feel not comfortable with and you want some support, that's what the mentor line's all about. So please feel comfortable as you're working through this portfolio, whether it's the week in class at the seminars or when you come back, at the post end of the seminar, and you have any questions whatsoever, because, and I'm going to say this in a very respectful way, there's no reason why your portfolio should be turned back unless you really, really didn't put emphasis into it, because you've got the resources behind you for that to happen. So please, at any time, if you feel like you have any questions at any of the work experience portfolio, because it is an assessment, then please just call the mentor line. Our policy is we allow 30 days for the portfolio to get approved. So if you turn it in February 1st, we have until March 1st to get it back to you. And it depends on the time of the year, but I would count on that in your time management for sure. And then again, if we need to return it, we'll do that. So here's the activities. In the portfolio work experience activities, there's 5 activities in business planning. And that's where I just mentioned earlier about those 2 case studies. All the business planning activities in the work experience activities are based on the course, on the case studies. Whether you're going to pick the public golf course, Crescent Ridge, or you're going to pick the private course, Summit Valley, all the activities are based off of the case study, okay? And I'll go through those activities and pull them up in just a second, but here's a little highlight. First one in phase 1 is we're going to define our business. What business are we in? Phase 2 is we're going to assess our current state of our business. How are we doing? Where are we strong? Where's our weaknesses? Where's the opportunities? Where's the threats? And then phase 3, we're going to actually develop annual objectives. How are we going to improve our business? And what strategies are we going to take to really, really move the needle in a positive direction? And then phase 4 is we're going to actually take that plan, take those objectives, put them into financial spreadsheets. And then phase 5 is we're going to pay attention to our business. We put all this together, and now we're going to monitor its performance. How are we doing? Are there any negative or positive variances that we should be concerned about? So that's a snapshot of the business planning activities in level 1. Again, all based on the case study. Activity 2, customer relations is activity 1 or moments of truth at a facility. Again, it's not a case study exercise. This could be at your facility or it could be at a facility. And moments of truth are basically a touch point. They can either be a negative or positive. They could be interactive or non-interactive. So I'll just give you an example. You pull into a driveway, into a parking lot, and the parking lot's full of rubbish. Okay, that's a moment of truth. That's a non-interactive because there was no people involved, and it was a negative. So what caused that? You go to the starter at the first tee, and the starter was the most nicest person you've ever met. That would be an interactive moment of truth in a positive way. So the things you're looking at, is there a customer-employee interaction? That would be interactive. Or be a parking lot, dirty signs, dirty restrooms. That would be a non-interactive. And then is it positive or negative? And then our job as golf professionals is what's causing that negative moment of truth? What's causing that positive moment of truth? And that's what we call our staffing systems and resources. Is it the staffing? Lack of training? Lack of motivation? Is it resources? I mean, you might give your outside operations person heck because the golf cars are dirty. And she told you 3 weeks ago that the hose been broken, or they ran out of soap. So again, an example there. Is it resources? Lack of resources? So it's staffing systems and resources. Do you have the systems in place to be able to turn golf cars over fast enough? So people aren't waiting 35 minutes for their golf car. They're running out of range balls. So do you have a system in place for that? So moments of truth are really, really, really important. I came out of the Ritz-Carlton training programs prior to opening up PGA Golf Club, and first club ever owned and operated by our great association. And I was really hammered by the Ritz with these moments of truth. Every little touch point, everything from start to finish. Yeah, we really search for perfection. And when we see a negative moment of truth, it's our job to figure out what caused it and let's fix it. And then activity 2 is really terminology. You know, you all do a great job. We're in the people business. And PGA associates, PGA members, Golf Management University students are phenomenal when it comes to interactions and personalities and relationship building. And this is just terminology, just understanding strategies and skills at your facility. There's a figure 8 that you'll see in your portfolio. Just understand the strategies, the directing strategies, and the desired outcomes, and initial interpersonal skills. It's just basically language. I don't want to say memorize it, but put yourself in a position that you do things. You know, if you're using a directing strategy, the compliant, your desired outcomes compliance. So an example would be, I'm looking for compliance. I'm going to use a directing strategy. And an example there would be stating my purpose clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, please go to your golf cars. In 6 minutes, we will be making announcements prior to the 8:30 shotgun. TSA in the airport. Take your shoes off. Take your belt off. Put your hands up. That would be a directing strategy. They're looking for compliance, and they are stating their purpose clearly. So just terminology more than anything. And then golf car fleet management. You're going to tell us about your facility. Tell us about your golf car fleet. You're going to analyze your policies and procedures. You're going to give us some financial information. And one question we get a lot of, if I'm working at a Golf Tech, or if I'm working at Top Golf, or I'm working at a section, you can use another facility. Okay, just go to another facility and get as much information as you can. Okay, the rules is a really cool one. You're going to actually give us up to a 2-minute video on a rule. Go out on your golf course and then go ahead and explain it in detail. That's a really, really fun fun activity that we really enjoy as a staff to kind of look at. And then here we go on tournament operations. There's 4 activities in tournament ops. So we're going to plan and prepare for the tournament. We're going to actually run the golf tournament. We're going to go ahead and add everything we need to do with the conditions of play and rules decisions, rule sheets, hole location sheets, pace of play, on and on and on. Then look at it. Let's review it. Let's evaluate it. What have we done really well? What have we done where we can really enhance any future operations? And one of the things we don't like to see is the tournament was perfect. Everything was perfect. I don't think there's such a thing. So there's always an opportunity. I know Kerry Haig, our chief championship officer, great friend. I think he's the best in the business. And Kerry always says, we had a great Ryder Cup. We had a great PGA championship. But you know what? We're going to have an extra restroom next year. We're going to have an extra food and beverage line next year. We're going to have more buses. We're going to have whatever it is. You can always improve upon your performance, very much like a golf game. And then finally, career enhancement. This is all about you. You're going to interview a supervising professional. So your director of golf, your head professional, your GM, talk to them. And it's really a cool activity. It creates great relationship, and you really get to learn a lot about how that professional got to where they got to. And then you're going to actually, in your own mind, you're going to refine a personal development summary, and you're going to lay out some goals on paper. Here's what I'm going to do this month. Here's what I'm going to do next month. Here's what I'm going to do this quarter. And it really gives you a good roadmap and keeps you motivated. And then finally, update and submit a current resume. And again, you got Kathy Grayson. She's an expert in resume writing. You've got tremendous support in the Career Center at PGA of America. Great resource. So again, ask, for sure. Absolutely. So I kind of went through those pretty quick, but any questions on that so far? And I know some of you haven't got into the portfolio yet, which is absolutely cool. But if you remember, when you go to a seminar, this is really important for those who haven't been to a seminar yet. Really good advice here. There's going to be an activity worksheet, and we're going to go through all the activities throughout the 3 days of facility management seminar. And this is really where you want to take some good notes, because it's going to help you. These activities align so much with the work experience portfolio, is really take in some good information. For instance, what business are you in? That's the first activity in a portfolio. So what business are you in? Define your current customer. Who is your customer? What are they expecting? And again, this is all based on your course case study, whether it's Crescent Ridge, the public facility, or Summit Valley, the private facility. Define your potential customer. Why is this stuff important? That's what makes golf business challenging and exciting, is you got 14,000 plus or minus facilities in the U.S. Everyone has its own niche customer base. You got clubs that are in our section, $200,000-$300,000 to join, and you got somebody down the street paying $12 to play. So again, it's awesome, and that's what we need. But we need to know, who is our players, who's our current customer, who's our potential customer, what does the market look like, what are opportunities there. So again, activity 4 is talking about the type of facilities. What is Crescent Ridge? It's a really public golf course. It's very well designed. They do 26,250 rounds last year. They just put in a couple $1 million over the last 5 years in renovations. They got 60 golf cars. So we need to know all that stuff. But what are some areas that they're really weak on? So we'll look at that. Summit Valley's the private facility. They put $8 million in upgrades. Cost $40,000 to join. It's the only private club in the area. So we need to know that, right? There's 5 facilities in that region. 4 are public and 1 is private. Summit Valley happens to be the private facility, the only private one. There's 2 municipal. There's a public, 2 public, a municipal, and then Crescent Ridge owned by an individual. So that's why it's really important prior to coming to the seminar, or if you've been through the seminar, more you know about your case study facilities, it'll be absolutely great. And then core business areas are your revenue producers. What's producing revenue? Golf cars, range, teaching golf lessons, player development programs, merchandising, guest fees. So what are producing revenue in the golf operation? And notice when I haven't said anything about food and beverage, because your entire work experience portfolio is based on golf operations, okay? So we're not really concerned about food and beverage. We are in executive management track, but not in this current track here. And then your customer profile. We need to know that. And now we get going here. We talk about core values and vision. You're going to go ahead and actually write a mission statement for Crescent Ridge. What is a mission statement? It's why, what is your purpose? Why do you exist? Why do you exist? Where core values are, what are your common beliefs? Fun, teamwork, honesty, sportsmanship, pride, on and on and on. So that's your core values. Your vision is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? To be. You're reaching out, blue sky. Where do you want to be in 2027? Where do you see your facility? That's vision. Where mission is, why do you exist today? What's your mission today? And you're working towards that ultimate vision. So vision is so important. It's more or less on the general management, the director of golf side of it, but you all have to buy into that vision. I almost believe that our CEO of PGA of America, Seth Waugh, has phenomenal vision. And his title, in my eyes, are executive visionary, because that's what he does. He can see golf in 5 years from now. we want golf to look like the world today. And each and every step we make towards that is just absolutely phenomenal. So every CEO that I've been through at PGA, Pete Pivacqua, Joe Steranka, and Jim Autry, all had phenomenal vision. They could see so far ahead of time and what needs to be done. So it's pretty cool. So again, mission is current. What's your purpose? Vision is to be 5 years down the road. Linear trend is just really creating a historical data on a club on each line item. How's the merchandise been doing over the last 5 years? How's your tournament operations been over the last 5 years? So it's nothing but a tedious calculation. And what it does is it really gives you historical data, is all linear trend does. Now we get into activity 2. And a SWOT analysis says nothing but strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we're looking at our business now. So in our case study, where are we really strong? Where are we strong in tournament ops? Where are we strong in golf cards? Where are we strong in merchandise? Teaching. Where's our weaknesses? So myself as a former GM, I've always talked to my professional staff and says, here's what we need to do this year, this quarter, this summer, this winter. Let's turn these weaknesses into strengths, because we control the strengths and weaknesses. So decline in member tournaments at the private facility. So I'm going to ask you professionals, why are the member tournaments declining? What's wrong? We need to get that up and become strong in member tournaments. So how do we do that? So that's a good example there. SWOT analysis are really great because you really have to be honest to yourself. You want to maintain those strengths. You want to turn those weaknesses into strengths for sure. And then opportunities and threats, we call those external. So it's important for you to know strengths and weaknesses you control. Opportunities and threats are external. You don't control them, but they're on your radar. For instance, in that market, there's a closure of a retail store. A big retail store just closed. So as a merchandiser, that's an opportunity. Here's a really good example of an opportunity in our section. We have spring training, don't we? The rental car companies, the hotel companies, the restaurants, they see that as an opportunity. Everybody's coming down to South Florida to go to spring training games. They don't have control over it, but they're hoping that they get a spike in play, and that will be a great example of an opportunity. You don't control it, but it's on your radar. And same with threats. You can't control the threats, but you're concerned about them, perhaps. Maybe the online shopping. Obviously, we always have weather issues. That's always could be a concern. Maybe there's other facilities that are doing knockout player development programs. They're creating relationships. They're bringing in customers in their facility. That's a threat. Because if I wasn't running a player development program and Marty was kicking butt at Florida Gulf Coast with one of the greatest player development programs, she's getting the action. She's getting new customers. So again, that'd be a good example of a threat. Okay. So that's a SWOT analysis, basically. Nothing more than where you're strong, where you're weak, where your opportunities, and what your threats. Okay. So feel pretty good so far? I know I'm talking a lot, but hopefully you're getting a lot of information from this and just making a couple notes and just kind of getting a feel overall of what this looks like. And then here's where you're actually now going to create a goal. A Summit Valley overall goal is the board of directors at Summit Valley. That's the private facility. Is saying to you, golf professionals, and this is what we're going to discuss in the seminars. Those of you who haven't been to seminars yet, we're going to discuss all these activities. Those of you who've been through the seminar already, utilize this as a resource to help you with your work experience portfolio. Okay. So Summit Valley overall business goal is goals of 3 years out. So they're saying that they're asking you to increase your net equity members by 15%. Currently, you have 304 members. They want you to get to 349 members in 2025. Okay, where the public facility increased total rounds by 40%, going from 26,250 to 36,790. So that's the goal. That's what your owner, your board is asking you to do. So now what you want to do is in 2022, how much you're going to increase your memberships by. In 2022, how much you're going to increase your total rounds by to ultimately get to that goal in 2025. So that's what this is. This is business planning. This is building your plan towards your ultimate goal that your direct report has actually asked you to do. So that's and then how you're going to do it. So I'll just use an example here. They're asking you to increase your total rounds by 40% at Crescent Ridge. So the first year, I feel comfortable that I'm going to increase it by 11%. I'm going to go from 26,250 to 29,250. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to start off by improving some course conditions. I'm going to definitely improve some social media. I'm going to improve the overall culture. I'm going to watch my staffing, make sure my staff is trained and comfortable in their position. So again, you're working on a plan to ultimately satisfy what your people are doing. So I think that's good for right now. I think I'm going to pull up now one last thing I want to do, and then I'll pull up the portfolio. Make sure you feel comfortable on how to navigate all that. And then I'll kind of share with you how to prepare for the exam. So activity, phase 5 is monitoring the plan. You're tracking basically. Now that you put together your plan, now you're tracking it. So an example would be Crescent Ridge. I'm tracking total rounds. We all know that the number one revenue producer in a public facility is rounds. We all know that the number one revenue producer in a private facility is membership dues. So we're going to track those two. So for Crescent Ridge, total rounds. So what do we want to know about total rounds? I'd like to know what percent of the rounds are gender. What percent of the rounds are tournament rounds based on the time of the day? The overall total rounds. Is it local community? Where are they coming from? So on and on and on. So basically what you're doing is you're paying attention to your plan and you're tracking it, whether it's on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. So almost like what you do pretty standard in merchandise, you probably do an inventory every month. So you're tracking your inventory levels. You're tracking your cost of goods sold and so forth, and your turn rates. So again, you're paying attention to your business. That's what monitoring performance means. Nothing else but that itself. So what I like to do now is there any, I don't like to ask if there's any questions because we're throwing a lot at you, and I'm hoping that you're just kind of getting it in your mind a little bit, feeling comfortable about it. But here's the dashboard in the actual education portal. And what I like to do here is just make sure you're comfortable with the navigation. So, but before we do that, I just want to take a moment and share with you the best way to prepare for the exams. Because ultimately, that's what we want to do. We do offer you practice questions, as you can see up top, at the top of the portal. And there's a couple hundred of them. We don't give you the answers. It does take a lot of time. So it is a resource for you. It depends on your style. But in order to manage your time, I would look at some of those for sure. Each course has learning outcomes at the beginning of each course in a course manuals. Take that learning outcome, go to the course manual and write a paragraph on what that learning outcome says in the course manual, and you will rock the house. Okay? I can assure you that every test question is based off of the learning outcomes via course manual. We as staff members, track every question, and we have to identify what we call mapping, where that answer is in the course manual to that question. Quizlet is scary. We don't monitor Quizlet. So again, the best way to prepare is learning outcome at the beginning of each course, find it in the course manual, and write yourself a little paragraph. Don't overdose. Don't choke. There's always a distractor answer. There's always an answer that sounds like it could be right. So just if you go in there with confidence, very much like you would with your golf game. If it's a 6-iron, hit a 6-iron. Don't think it's a 5 or a 7. It's the same thing here. You want to go in with a lot of confidence. And if you have to retake it, it's not the end of the world. So again, really prepare yourself there, okay? By far the best way to prepare for the exam. So as far as the navigation goes, okay, the level 1 portfolio navigation. So what happens is we don't look at the portfolio. We don't grade the portfolio until the entire portfolio is complete. So what you're doing is you're working on one activity at a time, and then once it's complete, you'll submit it to PGA. And again, we have up to 30 days to go ahead and get it back to you. So here's how it works. Here's the dashboard. So we're going to go level 1 portfolio. Okay. We're going to go down here to the bottom. Here's our level 1 portfolio activities. You're going to notice some of these activities are very similar to what we just went through on the activity worksheets. So we're going to go down to the bottom here. All these simulations, you're going to be, those of you who's been to seminar already, you get credit automatically for the simulations. You don't have to go through them. We don't test off them. They're just a really great resource for you to have for your team. So again, simulations are just basically an added resource to certainly help you with your performance. So as we go down here, so here's the beginning. And we definitely recommend that you attend the seminars first before you even dig into this portfolio. Okay. And I mentioned, Philip, to you earlier, prior to going to the seminar, really the main thing to do is just be comfortable with the case study activities. Don't get into the portfolio because you're wasting your time. You really are. You're not going to gain anything from it because we spent a lot of time in the seminars with that work experience activity sheet that we just went over. And you're going to see so many of these are aligned with the portfolio. So if you notice here, the 5 activities in business planning are case study, meaning Crescent Ridge or Summit Valley, meaning the private facility or the public facility. So activity 1, defining the business. Remember that work experience sheet we just talked about earlier? We already done so much of that. So here's activity 1, defining our business. Each of the portfolio have what we call a rubric. So we don't expect any of you to get less than a 3. If you're inadequate or unacceptable, you just really haven't put your foot forward. So you're gonna get 4s and 5s, 3 4s and 5s, but 4s right in here we want you to be on the left side, okay? For sure. And then here it is. Your facility name, define your business. What are your core values? What's your vision statement? That's everything we do in the activities, in the portfolio, in the seminars to really help you with it. So that's why I really emphasize to you, take some really good notes during the seminar in that activity worksheet that I just pulled up a few minutes ago. Okay. And if you've been to a seminar already, if you have any questions on any of these, certainly the mentor line is here to help you. Okay. So that's activity 1. Okay. Activity 2, SWOT analysis. Where are you strong? Where are you weak? What are your opportunities and what are your threats? Didn't we just look at that a few minutes ago? Here's a rubric. And here it is. So a lot of the activities, again, mirror to the portfolio activities, which ultimately mirror to the curriculum and the test questions. This is knowledge-based. So we find that if we see really solid work experience portfolios, there's a pretty good chance that associate's going to kick butt when it comes to the test. So again, really important, a lot of good detail and so forth. Activity 3, we're going to develop our objectives and our strategies. Right? What does that mean? We're going to start planning now. You're going to see this right here. We just saw this a few minutes ago. Say, Summit Valley, they asked you to increase your total golf memberships by 15%. How are you going to do it? What are your strategies operationally? So again, very much what we just saw in the work experience activities. So, and again, I can't emphasize to you how important that work experience activity worksheet is. It really, really helps you get through your portfolio. So really good thing for you to do. And then pull up the financial worksheets. This is where you're going to put the numbers into your budgets. You're going to make assumptions. You're going to develop financial forecasts, and then you're going to finally monitor performance. And this is really where you pay attention to your business. Okay. So if it's rounds of golf, total rounds, how often, what are you interested in? Gender rounds, junior rounds, tournament rounds, twilight rounds, super twilight rounds, full rate rounds, discount, whatever it is. What do you want to monitor? What are your hot buttons? What does your general manager, head professional, director of golf need to know? What do they need to know? What's important to them to really monitor? And then when you monitor, the main thing of all is you're going to track it through your point of sale system. How often will you monitor it? And then what's a corrective action? What would be an acceptable tolerance? And I'll just give you an example. When I was at PGA Golf Club, we monitor our rounds on a daily basis. So again, number one revenue producer were rounds. If I was off by 8% or a particular number, depending on the time of the year, I always had in place a corrective action. What does that mean? Always have something in place in case you don't meet your budget. A variance is basically nothing but shortfall of your budget. If you have a positive variance, pat yourself on the back. But if you have a negative variance, you have to try to catch up. Because I lost 8% of my rounds and I'm behind, what have you done about it? So now I'm sitting at a boardroom and they're saying, okay, Ms. Schiaffoletti, your rounds are off 11%. What's going on? Well, sir, here's what I've done. Ma'am, here's what I've done. I've done this. I did a blast email. I created some really good player development programs where you come out after 1 o'clock if you're a graduate of my player development program and bring 3 players and the 4th one's free or whatever it may be, just to try to make up the deficit. And that's what this is right here. It's really, now you put your budget in place. Now you're paying attention to your business and you're making adjustments instead of sitting there choking. So I haven't done anything. It's just been the golf course isn't, whatever it is. So this is really where I feel like you can really separate yourself in the pack and become in that 10% class, the top class, by really putting together a good budget, but now paying attention to it. Because the budget isn't over when you put it together. Okay, if your budget is due April 1st, it's not over. You haven't completed the budget. You put it together. Now you got to pay attention to it. You got to monitor its performance. And that is an area where we can find some weaknesses. So it's important to really, really pay attention to that. Okay. So any questions on monitoring performance? I'm going to pull up the spreadsheets at the end here. Customer relations, kind of went through that earlier today with moments of truth, whether it's a positive or negative. It's a fun activity. It really helps you to see what's going on in your facility. So here's a good example. Okay, you go into your facility. What's the first thing you're going to do? It may be calling the facility. It may be going on the website. These are all moments of truth. These are all touch points. Are they interactive or non-interactive? Interactive is with an employee. Non-interactive is website, parking lot, calling the facility, restrooms, cleanliness, dirty golf cars. Interactive would be interacting with the person at the starter hut, walking in a golf shop. Welcome to PGA Golf Club. What a beautiful day today. Nice to have you out here. How's your golf game? Just really upbeat. That would be interaction positive. Or, how you doing? You got a tee time today? Grumpy. That would be an interactive negative. And then what caused it? What's your reasoning? Was it staffing, systems, and resources? And so many of the times, professionals, and you all know this, most of the time it's training, not putting a person in the right position. So just train your staff. That's systems. If you don't train your staff, if you don't have good policies and procedures, it's just not. How can you perform to the fullest? That's where you choke, is when you don't know your job. So I can't emphasize. I could spend a whole day talking about training and getting your staff in the right position, because I promise you, when you become head professional, director, golf, GM, your life's going to be so much better. You're going to have a really well-oiled machine. Your culture is going to be loving. Your job's going to be a lot easier. The problem is when you have bad apples, when you don't train somebody, they don't fit into the culture of your facility. Then you get in a little bit of trouble and your job becomes much harder. You're pedaling uphill into the wind, and that can be really, really difficult. So can't emphasize, moments of truth are really, really important. And so much of it really place on your staffing. Just keep your eye on that, okay? And as strategies and skills, again, you all are brilliant when it comes to interpersonal skills, but just you need to make sure you feel comfortable. This is a key. Right here is a chart right here. If you know, this is 65% of the test right here. Okay? Just always make sure that these two, desired outcome and interaction strategies, mirror each other. They always are together. If you're looking for agreement, you're always using convincing as a strategy. If you're looking for commitment, you are always using supporting as a strategy. What we'll see on the exam and what we'll see in the work experience portfolio. I'm looking for compliance, so I'm using the involving strategy. Wrong. Okay, wrong. Remember, these are glued together. Initial interpersonal skill, if I'm looking for compliance, I always use directing strategy. My initial interpersonal skill is stating my purpose clearly. Now, you can have a second interpersonal skill. You can have a third interpersonal skill. Okay? Who has the most control? If the employee has the most control, it's up here. If they have the least amount of control, it's down here. So again, I'll say that one more time. If I'm looking for agreement, I'm fitting somebody with a set of golf clubs. I've got this 75-year-old person that used to hit at 290, and they're still hitting an extra stiff shaft. I'm looking for agreement. I'm trying to convince that person. My initial interpersonal skill is I'm providing a compelling rationale. Look at the launch. Look at that. Look how nice it's launching. Ball's going 7 yards further, 10 yards for whatever it is. So again, main thing here is to really understand this chart. That's the whole activity. Terminology. And now we get into, fleet. This is really cool right here. Tell us about your golf car fleet. What's your policies, what's your procedures, and what are your recommendations to improve your golf car fleet? Okay, really cool activity. Okay, your facility. Here it is right here. You're analyzing your facility, location, pretty simple. Just follow each of these. And when you talk about what's your staff size, what's your organization, what's your training methods, describe it. Where are you strong? Where are your weaknesses? And what are your recommendations? Don't put NA. Always give us a recommendation. If you think it's really, really going well, then just put continue to monitor its positive performance. But we don't like NAs. We don't like NAs. So you're basically analyzing your golf car facility, policies, and procedures. You're going to upload a daily checklist You're going to upload a weekly checklist, and then you're going to punch in some financial numbers. And now we get into the rules of golf. Again, you're going to do a little 30-second to 2-minute video. Go out on the golf course. Maybe you got something unusual about your facility, or maybe not. You just maybe want to do a penalty area. You know, the options, you drop options for a red penalty area or a yellow penalty area or OB or whatever. Fried egg in the bunker. Now you can take the ball out of the bunker, right? And they had 2 strokes. So anything like that you want to really show. And again, it's a really cool activity. So rules of golf. And then tournament operations. Again, the key thing here in tournament operations is before you do your tournament, look at what we're asking for. Okay, everything, because then and you can member coming up next week. You got plenty of stuff to be able to do, but make sure you've got scorecard pictures of scorecards, scoreboard, golf cart signs, rule sheets, anything like that, any hole location sheets. So again, the key thing is being detailed with the tournament operations, and it has to be the same tournament in all 4 activities. Okay. So again, it doesn't have to be, if you're working at a section, if you're working at a golf tech, you could go to another facility and spend a day or 2 days there and just make sure you fulfill and document all this. Okay. So there's your 4 activities in the actual event. So I'll just pull up the first one, plan and prepare for the tournament. We know how important preparation is for an event. So what's the name of the tournament? Where's it located? What are the dates? What's the type? On and on and on. And then here's your planning. Okay. Who's going to do what? Who's assigned for each of these areas? So you're really, really putting down on paper everything from A to Z in detail on planning and preparing the tournament. Okay. From there, you're actually running the actual golf tournament. Now you've got planned, you prepared it, and now we're going to actually run the golf tournament itself. You can actually videotape it if you like. We're looking for everything from the actual bag drop or valet, the registration table, how you prepared your golf cars and your staging, what your practice facility range look like, any sponsor signs, special events, any directional signs, any additional information. So you can actually go ahead and videotape it, or you can go ahead and take actual photos, whatever you feel comfortable with. But again, more detail, more information, better it is for sure. And then information tournament sheets, rule sheets, whole location sheets. We're looking for scoreboard photos. And then finally, review and evaluate the tournament. Okay, what did you do well? What can you do next time to really enhance and elevate the performance of that tournament itself? So really, really cool activity. Main thing we see, if there's a weakness we see in tournament ops, is just making sure that you fulfill everything that we're looking for, okay, here. And it has to be the same tournament from start to finish. And I know that sounds really weird, but we've had quite a few. Started a member guest in New Jersey, did the first activities, and then came down to Florida and fulfilled the other 3 activities with a different tournament. It doesn't work. Okay? It's the same tournament from start to finish. And just look at all the requirements prior to the actual event, and you'll rock it for sure. And a career enhancement is you're going to actually interview a supervising professional. This is a really nice activity. This can really find out, how did Meredith become the assistant director of one of the best sections in the U.S.? How did she get there? How did Marty get in the position that she's in today? So this is a really good activity to really just talk about how you got there, and it's phenomenal, and it'll spark a lot of interest in things that maybe you say, wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize you had to have that type of talent to become a head golfer, whatever it is. And then here you're going to go ahead and you're just going to create a personal development summary and a goal plan. Lay out your goal plan on paper. Lay it out, print it up on your closet. and look at it, check it off. This is your roadmap to success. And then update and submit a current resume. We see a lot of really weak resumes. You know, again, Kathy Grayson, great resource, great stat, really expert in resume writing. You want to show your value. You know, if I see so many more times, responsible for 50 golf cars. What does that mean? 35 of them are broken. So you want to be really, you want to validate your positive operational and not just responsible for junior golf program. You started with 60 juniors. At the end of the summer, you ended up with 6. So they didn't like your attitude. Get my point? So you really want to create how you do to grow it, grow percentages, grow revenue, decrease expenses, whatever it may be. You want to professionally brag, utilizing numbers and percentages. Okay. And then again, as far as any of the teaching and coaching, there's 125 questions in facility management for level 1. They're multiple choice or true or false. And there's 75 questions in the teaching and coaching. And I recommend that you really want to make sure at level 1 in teaching and coaching that you emphasize those 6 ball flight laws. You emphasize how you positively altered ball flight. And then again, reach out to Kevin Compare or any of our great instructors, Carol Rhodes, Tim Cusick, Richard Brown, Raphael Floriani, Eric Hogue. They're experts in teaching and coaching, and they'll be more than happy to get you there. Because the bottom line, the gratifying thing for PGA education, gratifying thing for Meredith and the PGA, South Florida PGA section is really to get you to the finish line. This is what this is at the end of the day. You're passionate about it. It's not a job. This is your career, and that's a big difference. So let's get you there, and we're there to do that for you. So once you get all those done, then what happens is you turn it in, and we have up to 30 days, once again, to go ahead and get that done. So any questions at all? So I want to make sure I've talked to all of you. So Stephen, what is your actual status? What have you done so far?
Yeah, so I talked in the beginning, but yeah, I'm a new entrant to the program. I am a PGA affiliate at this time, but I am just starting level 1 as of November 29th.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So did you take qualifying level? Did you pass
Correct.
that?
Yes.
Super. PAT?
I have not had a chance to attempt it. I resided in Wisconsin, and the season had ended at that time, so I'm preparing for it. I would probably attempt to do it by the end of the year here, if not early next year. Okay, you got it. Awesome, man. So once you get that, then you register for level 1. Do your level 1 virtual seminar online, and then you do what we just said. In your seminars, just make sure. Take a look at those activity worksheets that we just went over a bit ago. They're really valuable. You see how they align to your work experience portfolios? So this could really, really help you a lot, Stephen. Yes.
Awesome. Super, man. Awesome. Good stuff. Bob, any comments on your end? Joe, I see you're on also. What else do we have?
I think Jarrell wasn't on at the beginning. I don't know if he has any comments on where he is. I know Philip and
Yes,
Valeria were on earlier, so we've talked to them.
Jarrell, how about
hello, good morning.
Yeah,
good
morning.
Afternoon now. Yeah,
Afternoon.
sorry I was a little late there.
That's quite all right. Thanks for joining. Tell us what's going on. What have you done so far?
So I submitted my level 1 portfolio, I would say about 6 months ago. That was approved. So I'm finished with that, which I was very happy about. And I did the testing. I passed the teaching and coaching, but I did not pass the facility management.
Okay.
I missed by a few questions there. So, I think the biggest thing for me, and then I know I've spoken to some mentors as well, and they recommended to really look at the objectives in the beginning of each section and really know those and really focus on those. So I just want to see if you had any other tips as far as for those getting ready to test, because I think it's maybe about 120 questions, something like that.
Correct. 125. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just obviously we have a lot of notes from the facility management, so I was just wondering any other tips that you might have as far as what areas to focus on when preparing for test and doing your flashcards. And I know she said stay away from Quizlet, which I have done now.
Good.
But yeah, anything else you might recommend?
Sure. Have you got a report? Where were the areas where you were weak on the facility management? Did you get an actual report?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Fleet management was one. So I focused a little more on that, and I would have to look back. It's been a little while now.
Yeah. Okay. They're definitely right on, Jarrell. The main thing is the learning outcomes at the beginning of each course manual. Just review them, and when you get into the exam, a good thing for you to do is almost put your hand over the answers, because what will happen is there's always a distractor. There's always one that says, "Man, is it A or is it C?" They both sound right. So I really advise you to do that. I mean, go in there prepared. You know how to do it. You got your flashcards. You worked at it. So just go ahead and look at those learning outcomes. Write a little paragraph on what that learning outcome says in that course manual, because every question comes from the learning outcomes via course manual. And a good advice would be, instead of just opening up the question and looking at all 4 options, is put your hand over it and say, "I think it's this one," and move your hand and watch what happens. You'll do really, really well. And go in there positive, just as you would going into a golf event or anything else. And go in there with broad shoulders and walk like you're the coolest dude in the world, man. What happens is you leak oil. Everybody over tries and you choke. And I'm saying that really respectfully. Because every person I mentored, not every person, but 90% of the people I mentored after an exam, they knew the answers, but they choked.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that happened often where there was multiple answers that I thought, and then like you said, doubt seeps in a little bit. So, but so I'll focus on those learning outcomes and base kind of my flashcards around those. And I would say too, I think the other thing that I maybe struggle with a little bit is I think they provide a lot of examples, and then you have to be able to talk about the category of the subjects that it refers to, and sometimes they can get a little blurry as far as being something similar.
You got your head together. Yeah, you're there. Yeah, you're there for sure. Where are you actually working?
I'm at the Bridges at Springtree Golf Club in Sunrise, Florida.
Yes, gotcha. Awesome, man. Good to have you aboard. We'll get you to the finish line. You want to get there, we'll get you there.
Thank you. Yeah, as soon as possible, for sure. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Kathy, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes.
Good to see everyone. Here we go again.
2022. Here we go again. For sure. So,
well, I think Bill, I'll reiterate what Bill said to all those on the call, is that the goal of these is to provide whatever support we can to you all as associates to help get you through the program. We understand, everybody on these calls, different from those that Marty gets to work with on a daily basis, have a full-time job as they're going through the process. We understand everybody's going to face different hurdles and challenges along the way. So outside of just this call is not only are we providing a platform where you all can share with one another, but also there are other opportunities, as Bill alluded to, Kevin Compare, the mentor resource line. If you haven't been to the associate mentoring page that we launched as a section, there's 3 mentors in each chapter that are PGA members, and they're there to help you whatever you might need, but also lean on the people on this call, lean on those that are actually going through it with you. Stephen and Philip, you two are brand new associates about at the same point. So lean on each other, and we'll continue to communicate with you, but please remain engaged and tell us how we can get better in doing these and what you all need. Cause that's the goal of this is we have the ability to pivot and make changes to make it effective for you all. That's our goal, is to provide a platform for you all to succeed. So please continue to join us on these and connect with us offline if needed. You have all of our information, but really appreciate what Bill is committed to do for those associates in the South Florida section in particular. He's dedicated his career to mentoring countless PGA members. I don't even think you can count how many you've mentored over the years. Kathy and Marty do the same. So we're here to support you and just encourage you to stay engaged with us.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Absolutely. We care. I mean, what's this session all about today? We care. We don't get any, there's no there's no bonuses, people that turn to 8 from 1 to 2. The bonus is really at the end of the day when you get comma PGA after your name. That's what's exciting. Quite honestly, this sounds really corny, but like when we get a really good portfolio in education, when we were working together prior to virtual and all this other stuff going on in the world, we'd scream, man, I just got a great portfolio. Like I just shot 65. And all of a sudden somebody becomes a member and you had that person through all 3 levels. You know how gratifying that is? I mean, Kathy could tell stories about taking a professional out of the sewer, out of the dumps, being so down on themselves. And all of a sudden, just one little spark. And that's what it's about. It's a lonely world sometimes. So please, and Meredith said it so nicely, we're here to help you. Don't feel like it's lonely. It's a great networking industry. A lot of you in the same position. Philip and Stephen can work together. Just make sure you do your own work. Okay. That's important. And I know you do that because it's all part of integrity. But at the end of the day, it's all about caring and it's a career. It's not a job. This is serious stuff. This is your career. And, and ultimately get to where you want to be in your profession. Kathy and the whole career team will get you there for sure. Absolutely, for sure. So well said for sure, Meredith. Love it.
Philip's going to have no excuses, as I can walk around the corner here and just help him along the way and make sure he's keeping up on work. Sorry, Philip.
Yes.
No, you're good, but thank you everyone for all your help. I really appreciate it. And Bill, it was very helpful, the slideshow and everything.
Well, thanks. I wish I had the whole day to do it. I know I crammed it in quick, but at least we'll keep going. It's not a one-off, okay? We'll keep going. We'll chew away at it and get you where everybody needs to get to for sure.
And Stephen, welcome to South Florida. Like we said, if there's anything you need, as you go through, I know you still have the PAT, but as you start that process, let us know that as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everyone's help as well for all of these meetings.
And Stephen, I would encourage you to reach out to Kathy. I know you're still working on employment. So if you haven't connected with her, make sure you do. She's the best career consultant in the country, and luckily she's all ours.
Yeah, so I have been working with her for quite a while. So
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, actually, Stephen, I sent an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I sent an opportunity for you to Dylan this morning, just because I wasn't sure if he had spoken with you over the holiday. So reach out to him or reach out to me, and I'll share that with you.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. That's great. And Stephen, where you actually living? What town?
So I'm in South Florida, so Delray Beach, Boca, and with family, as that's kind of that was the main purpose of my move, was to help family with kind of health issues and such. So, and I kind of, as I mentioned, I'm an attorney by trade, so I kind of did a career evaluation and decided that practicing litigation was a dreadful existence. So we are going to golf.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, he has quite the background. So any club who snags him is going to have a tremendous asset.
That's what we like, for sure. We need the very best, don't we, Kathy, out in the field? So, Marty, how's everything going on? So your students come back in next Monday?
Yeah, fantastic. They come back in next Monday, and I've got about half of them, actually 3/4 of them are out on internship this spring. So they are at all the clubs here in Southwest Florida, in Fort Myers and Naples, killing it and working hard and taking classes. So they're busy.
That's awesome, man. That is so great.
So there's about 100 of them out in the field.
100. Wow.
Valeria, you
Fantastic.
have your hand raised. Go
Yes.
ahead. You can unmute yourself and share what you have with us.
I need the contact information because to enter to the portal, I have my work email, but I work at Grand Oaks, and Grand Oaks is owned by Nova Southeastern University. And then sometimes when I try to log in into the PGA portal, it won't let me. It must has been something from my work email, but I was wondering if I can change it to my Gmail.
You have to do that on your own. I'll include a few more resources in the recap email today. We don't have access to that. You'd have to contact PJ of America to do so. You
Okay.
can make that change though.
Okay, perfect. That'd be super helpful.
Yeah, we'll include that in there with I'll include the mentoring information as well as Kevin's information. So you all have it.
Thank you so much.
And
You're
you feel comfortable with your member? Feel like you got something out of today's
Oh
seminar?
yes. We had a member guest in November, and then we had a member in December, but I was kind of busy and I forgot to take the pictures of my card signs and tickets and range and everything. So I was waiting for this one to do all over again. But this time, make sure to take pictures and everything.
That's exactly right. That's exactly the key. Why'd you forget? Were you just too busy? Just kidding.
Well, it's just me and my head pro, and we run everything. We don't have any. I'm sorry.
Of course, running around 500 miles per hour and
Yeah,
just
and
easy to
then
do. Yes,
yeah. So I forgot completely.
it'll be good. Awesome, fantastic.
Yes.
Well, on behalf of the South Florida section, it was a blast. I've truly enjoyed it. Great to see everybody, and we really look forward to the next step. So stay onward. Those of you who just pre-registered, again, when you go to the seminar, really pay attention to the activities. Take as many notes as possible, and that's this activity worksheet that I pulled up earlier, and it'll help you throughout for sure. Absolutely. Any pre-seminar activities you want to work on, I definitely recommend that you become very familiar with both case study facilities, both the private facility being Summit Valley and the public facility being Crescent Ridge. So we talk a lot about that. And you notice that the 5 activities in business planning are all case study. So get really familiar with those two, and that'll really get you going. Don't get into the portfolio pre-seminar. It's just not worth it to your time, quite honestly. So just more importantly, just get familiar with the case studies and take some great notes when we get into the seminars. So that's my remarks. It's been a blast.
Thank you, Bill. You all have a wonderful day. As a reminder, we will conduct these every first Monday of every month at 11 o'clock. So stay tuned. If you miss any, we'll send out the recording as well. And like I said, stay connected with us in the meantime. We're always here anytime you guys need support.
Fantastic. Marty, thank you for your time. I know you got a busy week ahead of you with 4,628 emails. Kathy, you probably got 450 zillions.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. So cheers, everybody.
Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
See you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.